What's up, y'all? What's going on? So check it, right? I go by a lot of different aliases. So the story I'm gonna tell you is how I got fired, right? So in the business of construction, I was known as D Block in the business, and so for this particular video, what's up? I'm D Block, right? You know, and I'm gonna tell you why I got the name D Block. First of all, I really love the group D Block. You know what I'm saying? They stuck together like a family. They ain't let the money, the fame, none of that flash, break them up as a unit. These guys been together for 25 years, and even though it was three of them, they all looked at each other as boss, boss, and boss. And that's sort of like my movement, and they kind of like family orientated. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of took on that. And plus, when they go in the booth, as y'all know, or anybody that knows D Block, they go hard. So I kind of subliminally use that in construction, because when I do this construction game, I go hard. I don't play no games. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So that's why they call me D Block. All right. So why I got fired? You know, I'll get into basically why I got fired, but I just want to, let you guys know how I pretty much started with this company. I started with this company by meeting a guy on another job that actually was the boss of this company. But at the time they had no work, so he came to this particular job. It was at the World Trade Center. I was pretty much honored to work at the World Trade Center because obviously y'all all know we was attacked. So for me to be a part of rebuilding it, it was like it's a big deal for me. And every building I build is a big deal for me because I feel I'm building history. These buildings are going to be here 2, 3, 400 years or whatever. So, we made a good bond. We actually was partners, not knowing this guy was the boss. And later on in the future, I'm going to be working for him. So I was going through hard times with this particular company I was from. At the time we met, and I gotta say this man is a friend of me. He kind of saved my life, you know what I'm saying? Because it was bad over there where I was at. It felt like, honestly, the people you knew for years, it felt like it was demonic forces in them. Like the demonic forces I'm sorry, the people that left in that accident in 9/11, it seemed like it was unsettled spirits on the job because people you knew for years, they wasn't saying good morning. People were mad at each other. It was like, I can't say the movie Sinners, but it was just like, it was weird. Like, dudes wasn't like they were, and it was just like a weird time over there. So when this particular person came, it kind of saved my life because it was like a conspiracy against me. And, he kind of brought joy and laughter back and fun back, where honestly, it was real bad where I wanted to really crack somebody in their face, man. I'm gonna tell you that straight up, man, because these dudes was foul, man, but, I worked my way through it. I actually did crush a dude's helmet because he hit me with a grinder, but, I flipped the table on the shanty and I told him, better not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I gotta laugh. It's real, but y'all gonna notice it's about me, right? I tell stories and I laugh at myself because I can't believe I did this. First of all, let me let y'all know something. I'm a Gemini, so I'm a little back and forth. This guy, that guy. So, yeah, they was hating on me over there, and it got to a point where this guy gonna hit me with a grinder in my arm. I grabbed his helmet and his head was in it, obviously, and I'm trying to squeeze his head, but the helmet was in the way, and the helmet said snap. And I was just squeezing his head. Yeah, man, that's how bad it was over there. Another dude, this dude gonna try to rat on me. I don't know if I'm getting in trouble, but I choked him out, straight cheese. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, when that guy came, maybe I'm getting off topic, you don't have to work with me on that. All in all, when this guy came, we became good friends, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was two of them. One of them we lost, and great guy, funny guy. So now let's fast forward to me working for the guy now. I get to work for him. I believe I started on a job. When did I start as a job on a farm as a foreman for him? Okay, I'm gonna say I started on a job as a sub foreman Roosevelt Island. All right, and I was pretty much stepping in for somebody, and we did good. It was a beautiful thing. Things were going good, and at the time I had to leave and become a foreman somewhere else. So I gave him about 3 4 months. So when I went to this other job, that worked out for about 2 3 years, and then we wound up rekindling because I got fired from that job. It's another story. Oh my God. So, but I'm gonna stick to this particular current firing that happened this year of 2025. That pretty much changed the course of my life as far as construction and wanting to stay. I've been around a long time. I have over 25 years, not good years, because once we go on with story time and me telling you a little bit about myself, you're going to see that I lost 14 years from, another part of my life in the Bronx that was a little crazy, but we'll get to that another time. Right now, I just want to really dig into this firing thing because it really bothered me, but I needed that. I needed it to happen to break my passion and my love for the game. So I think I would have never left, honestly. I love the people I work for. It's the people I'm talking about. I love the guys that work for me. Man, I just got married, and some of the guys that work for me, they were my groomsmen to show you the love I had and they had for me. So it was a bittersweet for me to step back, and I'm actually retired now. So how I got fired was, well, let me before that still I'm sorry to before I got fired, everything was sweet. You come in as the greatest superhero, save the day, you the man, you know how to do this. Yo, that's my guy. I got your back. D Block, I got your back. We a team. D Block is just not an individual, that's a movement. And that's how I felt I was moving with my team on my floor, which they are D Block, because they definitely are real. And y'all know who I'm talking about, those dudes that's on that stripping floor with me. Realest of the real. But I felt the upper archy, the main boss of all bosses, they really had my back. You know what I'm saying? And which they did. Everything was great. They done great things for me. They put people to work. I've changed people's lives. I've put people in the union and helped them, develop. Taught them rain, sleet, snow, all of that stuff. So it was like a great relationship. It was a great bond. At least I thought it was. But as time goes on, things change, evidently. And so through that time, I'm gonna fast forward to the present time, where last year this company was so great to me and so cool with me that I felt I was always looking out for them and watching their back. People were taking advantage of coffee breaks. They were taking 25, 35 minutes. You're only allowed 15 minutes for a coffee break. And it was just all out, I don't care. And nobody was monitoring. And I'm watching my company lose money, get jerked. So I was like, man. So I brought my New York state of mind to New Jersey, because what we do in New York, they don't do in New Jersey. So I said, to help my company and to help myself, let me do the coffee. Let me make sure these dudes get their coffee on time, get their 15-minute breaks, because as we get 20, 30 stories higher, you can't have 100 guys go down to a truck and buy coffee. And those of y'all that do construction definitely knows that makes sense. So they allowed me to do the coffee, and in my mind, I guess they didn't know that how passionate I was about it, because I see guys that have this coffee position take advantage of this coffee position. They don't have love for it. They bring you cake, they bring you candy, they bring you cold coffee. I said, that's not going to be me. I'm going to give these guys the best experience they ever had in their life. And I kid you not, it was the best experience these guys had in their life. We literally had a place on the job where they can come eat, where they can have good breakfast, where they can have hot coffee, where if they needed gloves, they were available. Guys have tough weekends. Construction, we party, baby. We go hard and we go home, and that's off the job. Y'all know what I mean. So they not bringing in no gloves. Some dudes ain't even bringing in no socks. So, I just had, we was coming into the winter. I had, hand warmers, anything these guys needed to survive the winter, because a lot of us that work outside, it's brutal out there. So I made it work for them, and then it turned out it worked for all of us, and in doing that, I thought was a good thing. I started feeling a shift in the energy. We all know what it was. Some dudes don't like to see you do well. I'm already doing well. I'm forming like, oh my God, now he's the leader of this. He's making money doing this. But money don't move me, man. I'm not worried about money. I'm worried about doing the right thing for the people, for myself. That's just my movement. That's just that D block like feeling me like money. I ain't worried about no money, man. I'm worried about my people making it home. I'm worried about my people now. I'm in a position where they can eat good. I know they got hot stuff. I know they got cold stuff. I used to spend money on ice because I love ice. You know what I'm saying? So what I love. I gave to them. Anything that I love, I gave it to them. I made sure they had it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't shortchanging them. I ain't coming there with cakes and sodas and candy. I came there with hot food, breakfast, lunch. You know what I'm saying? Dudes was in love with it. They was like, yo, we never seen nothing in our life like this, bro. Yo, this is crazy, and I ain't got to walk outside. I could just walk downstairs. My company's not losing money. Dudes is getting the right time. I'm saving them money. But I just felt it was a shift. And those of y'all know what I'm talking about. I just felt that shift. But okay. I leave that job. Feel I do a great job with that job. Actually, I became a general over there. Something I asked for was denied. And then out of nowhere, because of my man that looked out for me, he know who he is. Good man, stood up for me and said, nah, you can't leave a job unmanned. But I was already into my coffee thing, and I wasn't looking to be the general because I was told I wasn't going to be the general. So I was like, all right, fine, no problem. I'll do my stripping, which I love. I love the guys. Do my thing, no problem. But then this is how it happens. You're going to be the boss. You're running the job. That's it. And they walk away. So I'm like, really? Okay, so now I got the coffee going on, and I got to run the job. And guess what? I still did a fantastic job from the beginning to the end. Until they tore down Shanny, I started bringing bags because I felt I was responsible. I took on that responsibility for the guys. And when they tore down my store, which they had, I understand, the job was ending, it was over, so it's time to wrap up and get your stuff together. I get that because I always want to save the money. But my responsibility is for the guys. So the little bit of guys was there, I would still bring a bag. I would still bring a cooler of hot of soda. I don't think I had hot stuff. No, I didn't have no place to make it hot. So I did have the sodas. I had to do as guys be cheap and do, but they was happy with that because it was getting hot. Actually, they needed that. So it kind of fell in place. It was all good. All right, so now, job over, I get shifted to the other job. All right, my man in charge, it's all good. I had to start working, which is fine. I love to work. But normally, and I'm going to keep it a buck, normally in the company, when you're a foreman, you go to another job and you're waiting to be a foreman again, they really don't make you work. They give you a foreman spot somewhere else. But I understand how this company moves. It's fine. I mean, it's all good because they've done a lot of great things for me. So I don't. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to give you my blood, sweat, and tears, and which I did for a while until that particular foreman had to go be the general across the street. Now, from my understanding, and I thought I was going across the street to run a job, but things change, fine. And the guy they got, great guy. I love this guy, and so I was going to stay with my man, my main man that I met from back in the days. You know what I'm saying? All right, it's a good thing, cool. So, but when I took over the job, the guy that left to be the general asked me to hold his men down, and the reason I got fired was for holding his men down. Because my men, my crew, and nothing against the guys that stayed, I always find the strength in guys, and I'm not just, it's, a lot of guys do it, fire everybody and bring their team in. And in which, that's not my demeanor, because there's a lot of good guys there, but I got guys that I can trust and turn my back on. And if I make a mistake or if I forget something, they'll cover me. In which I did forget something that was told to me by the super. And he was furious and upset. I don't know how he took it and how I was just so mad. Yes, it was a tragedy, but we had bigger tragedies. We had life losses. And y'all didn't get rid of that person. Y'all got rid of me over a mistake. So yeah, I'm a little tight behind that. But I know how the thing goes. So I'm like, word? And we got another job popping at the same time. So if I made the mistake, in which the mistake was this, I keep stringing along. I'm sorry about that. I jump around, man. It's not like I'm really trying to do that. This is a passionate thing. This just happened to me. This forced me into retirement. But I'm going to get into that because it turned out to be a great thing. Sometimes we don't understand how our higher power works for us. And I had to sit there and meditate and see why. And I'm jumping around again, so bear with me because this is a little emotional for me. It was bad when I got fired. So, I take over. Things are going well. Actually, things are going better, right? Guy told me to put some protection down. But it's just, I felt this certain energy in the air. It's just, what was it? Why are y'all talking like that? Why, when I become the foreman now, y'all don't want to pay me my money? It hurt that you don't value my talent, but I got to speak up for it. It should be given to me. But, I spoke up for it, and they eventually made sure I got what I was supposed to get. But in getting what you were supposed to get, it probably came with a price, and this is the price, I believe. It came with a price of, I'm gonna give my man, even my man that fired me, the benefit of the doubt. His other part of his family probably said, yeah, you see, you give this fucking guy the money, and look what happened, it goes off the building. Or he feels that he got scrutinized for giving me my expense. But you supposed to give every foreman in the business an expense. But y'all keep getting richer and richer, and we still, we're in the field. But now that y'all want to make cutbacks, y'all don't want to pay a man what he's supposed to be paid. And y'all expect me to accept that. And I was going to accept it before a certain amount of time, because if I would have found something and I gracefully told him that, I was going to leave. Because you don't pick up a radio just for control. You don't pick up a radio. That comes with responsibility. And I got fired because of that responsibility. So, guys, don't pick up a radio and not take no expense. You're a sucker and you're messing up the game. So, all right, I get my money the next day. Things are flowing. Everything's going good. And the person don't know, because I never said it to him, but I'm going to set it on this. I know that you cut me short of being a general. I know you did that to me because you said I couldn't read the panel list. I know, but I still love you. That's why I never said nothing to you. I know you said that. That's why I was focused on the panel list. It felt like a challenge, because we always challenging each other. You always pushing, and that's your job to push. You're the general. I love it. I love the challenge, and I was stepped up to every challenge. But I lost train of thought stepping up to your challenge. And the reason I was so hard on your challenge because you didn't want me to be the general foreman, because you felt I couldn't read a list. But that other good guy stepped up and made me the general foreman. So that's why I was distracted so much. All right, to let you know, not no excuse. So the main guy, which I had love for, I'm definitely upset with you, fam. Definitely upset with you because I have a lot of love for you. I would have stepped in front of a bullet for you, kid. Straight cheese like that. But this is what you do? Okay. You couldn't send me to the other job? Okay. All good. All right, so cool. So I'm gonna get right to it right now. All right. So we doing the job. We on the 60th floor, right? So the day prior to this incident happening, a guy left the floor for 45 minutes, damn near an hour, right? And when he came upstairs, and I don't like guys that think they slick, you know what I mean? When you're a foreman, stripping foreman, you know what I'm talking about. Guys slip behind the corner, they going to the bathroom to use the bathroom, they really going to go on the phone, you know what I'm saying? Go chill. Some dudes get high, some dudes drink, whatever. Try to do that shit quick and come back. You leave for 50 minutes? Nah, that's not happening. It's not happening. And I'm not even the type of dude that fire you from that. But I am going to check you. I'm going to check you on that. So when he came back, I called him, let me call. And I don't embarrass my dudes. That's why I got a lot of respect and love for my dudes. I pulled him to the side like a mess. Yo, what's up, son? You leave the floor like that? He's like, nah, I had to go to the bathroom. I said, there's a bathroom on 54, dog. Yeah, but I went all the way down. I said, you know how the elevator is. You're not going to get the hoist. It's called the hoist, not an elevator. That's on the outside of the building. For those that know about construction, you don't ride an elevator inside. You ride the hoist outside because we still developing the building from ground up. So you have to have the hoist to get the material in, all kind of panels, walls, whatever. So those that know what a hoist is. And they stop on every floor, they this, that. So even if he was telling the truth, yo, bro, you don't say nothing, you slip off, because I know you on the phone. I know you're a phone guy. I know you're a Minuteman guy. You come to work a minute before it's time. So that was what was strange, and I should have picked up on it when you did that incident. Now I'm talking to the guy that now he didn't get me fired, honestly. I ain't gonna say not listening, me focusing on a panel list, not focusing on the main thing, which my man asked me to do, cover this up, even double cover it. It slipped my mind because I was focused on something else. But if it was my crew there, KK, all these dudes, if it was my crew there, that wouldn't have never happened. Because they would have seen the unjust. And they would have said so. They came down and told me. They would have stopped it. But these dudes, I ain't gonna front, was the other guy crew. I ain't blaming them either, but I was holding him down. Right? This dude, his job was to break down the scaffold. So that means you throw lumber down because you have to build a platform when you're stripping the scaffold on these high floors, because it's a high floor, so you build a platform. Guys know what I'm talking about. That's in construction. You got to lay down 3x4s. When you then you pull the plywood down, and you use the you don't throw the plywood, you lay it down on the roof. So now you're not walking on like stilts. You're walking on a platform. We call it a dance floor in the business, right? So he's just breaking it down. He's not even taking the material down. He's not even doing the dangerous stuff. Breaking it down is cool. This guy is breaking it down crazy because I kind of went ahead of myself. The next day after reprimanding him about leaving the floor for 50 minutes, he's usually a Minuteman. Every day since I took over. And even before I took over, I used to ask my man, I said, yo, Mike, yo, what's up? Yeah, I can say his name because that's my man. Yo, Mike, what's up with your man? Why he always coming late? What's going on? Nah, he alright, he good, alright. No problem, son. You got it. You know what I mean? It's you my man. That's but that's that type of dude he is. He holding his man. That's the kind of guy he is. He's a good dude. That's my man still to this day. So now he's up on the scaffold already. And I'm like, this dude is never on time. So I don't know if he was. I'm saying he was disgruntled because I didn't really talk to him about this, but he was up there ready to go. And I'm like, all right, guys, let's do what we got to do. He knew what he had to do, and he just started breaking down the scaffold. But he's working crazy now. I'm not watching him. I didn't think I had to watch him because I'm not used to watching the strippers. He's breaking it down, breaking it down, breaking it down. As he's breaking it down, he's not letting the guys clean up. So the plywood ricocheted off of what he was what he was breaking down, and and it went out the building. Now we're on the 60th floor. You're talking about an 8x4 full sheet of plywood coming down the building like a torpedo. And guess where it landed? In the swimming pool across the street, where it's totally packed every day. Because this happened in July, right before the 4th of July, right? A little passionate about this. Hold on, man. So, right, check it. He runs around the corner while I'm doing my panel list, because I was challenged about a panel list. He said, yo, man, I dropped the plywood off the building. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, you know, in the swimming pool. I said, oh, man. I go around the corner, and for those of y'all that know about breaking down scaffold, you're supposed to break down scaffold and let guys clean up. Go to another area, break down scaffold. The stuff he was throwing down was piling up so high, it was coming back up to him. So they didn't see that because I stopped everybody. I went in, I was nervous, I was scared because I didn't put the protection down. I forgot to put the protection down. And when you're a leader and you're responsible for a situation, even though that guy did it, I'm the one that's responsible, and that's anybody. So that's why when you take these radios, take that money too. Because if not, be like, nah, son, I'm good. I'll just work. Because if anything goes wrong, you're to blame for it. Another thing I want to tell y'all that I've learned recently, there's no such thing as a company man. I've been with these guys 10 years, and if they could fire me like that, not move me, not hold me down on some, I figured D-Block family, you're never a company man. I've seen a man get fired, been 20 years. Everybody walking around here like perfection, money is the key to everything. That's crazy, man. Just understand the guys that fired me, y'all kind of, I'm gonna say this because I'm very furious with y'all. Y'all was doing God's work, so I don't want to wish bad on you. I probably did before, but I had to meditate and act because everything is not by chance. I'm a major figure in the business. I'm known as D-Block in the business, hard body. And you can ask anybody in the city, anybody that, anywhere Crane has in New York, you can walk up on that job and say, yo, you know D-Block? Because I've done a lot for people, man. I love my people, man. Black, white, Irish, Italian, don't matter to me, son. And they know it. They know it. They my brothers, man. They my brothers, man. So I just, to be honest, I gotta say they did God's work by getting me out of there, because I just a month prior to that happening, because that's why I said I had to meditate and ask why. A month prior to that happening, I really out of nowhere I just stopped and say, "Hey, yo, God, man, yo, check this out, man. I need your help, man, because I think I'm going to not ever retire in my life. I'm lying to my wife. I feel if, I told my wife I'm gonna retire at 62. I'm 57 right now. I told my wife I'm gonna retire at 62, and deep down in my heart, the love that I have for the business and you guys out there, I couldn't do it. It was a passion. I said, God, just please help me break this passion, man. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, man. I don't want to be lying to my wife, man, but and I'm even convincing her, well, babe, what if the board opens up? What if I get a shirt and tie job? And what if I'm not working that hard? I got more time with you. I'm not tired. I was full of it, man. It felt like I wasn't going nowhere. And so they say be careful what you ask, especially if you're a chosen one. I feel I'm a chosen one. They say the guys with the M on their hand. I got the M on both hands. So, you know what I mean? So, I say you ain't the chosen one, now you asking for a major thing. That was a passionate ask. And to break my passion for something I'm asking you to break my passion for something I love. Not even thinking boo about it. Because I said I'm going to retire. When the time comes, I said to God. and God don't have. Y'all know He has His own time. So the time was great. You know why the time was great? Because once I got over the hurt, I didn't drink because I don't drink. I got 7 years clean and sober. I didn't get over the hurt honestly for a while, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. When I went home, man, yo, I'm jumping around, but let me just show you how I walked off this job when they fired me. So it's passionate. And I forgot to tell you I forgot to tell you what happened when that plywood went 60 stories off the building. Let me get back to that, man. Again, bear with me. This is a emotional thing for me to get fired. So I did forget to tell y'all, when the plywood went off 60 stories, nobody got killed, and that swimming pool is full every day. It's January. It just happened to be cloudy that day. A woman was just getting out of the pool, and later on, I felt it was an act of God, and I'll tell you, and I'll explain why. But no one got hurt. If people were in that pool, like it's usually, it's always full. It's undeniable they would have got hit. It would have ripped them apart. It would have killed them. Honestly, 60 stories, full sheet of plywood, and nobody got hit. So I was told by the guy that that's it, it's over. You know, the guy that dropped it off the building tried to take the blame, which it was his fault. He was like, "Nah, don't do that to D Block, man. I'll take the weight for it." So I respect him for that, but I don't respect the fact he was working disgruntled, though, because I checked it was the day prior behind you sneaking and playing on the phone. I don't respect that part, but I do respect the fact that you tried to not let me go out like that. He was like, "Nah, don't do that to D Block, man. Just fire me." But they fired both of us. They definitely, and now I'm blackballed for this particular company. I can never work for them again. Not the company, my company I can work for, but the general. Whenever they get a contract with this particular GC, I can never work with that particular GC. But when you're a family and you care about somebody and you got other projects going on, you don't just kick them to the curb like that. You be mad at them. Yeah, he messed up, but yo, all this stuff D Block did for us. Yo, send them over there, yo. Send them over there, But they didn't even do that. They celebrated on the other job. The hierarchy celebrated. Yeah, I'm talking to you, and I'll talk to you in your face too. However you want to do it, I'll speak to you in your face as a man, and I know you're connected. But guess what? I'm connected too. However you want to do it. So, and we'll have a respectful sit down. You know what I'm saying? Face to face as men. Just got more money than me. That's all. You got more pull than me. Talk to me like a man. Alright, but there's more to this. But I'm gonna kind of start like, hold on. Let me say something right quick. When I left that job, I went back up and I packed up. I shook every man's hand, and I thanked them for all the hard work they did for me, and my man Hood, and my man, Al. If they wouldn't have walked with me, yo, I would have broke down crying right there. But they gave me strength. They helped me pack my stuff up. I went to my car, and yeah, that's what I broke down, yo. Actually, I didn't break down then. I didn't break down until later on, but I could tell you a little bit more about that. But that's how I got fired, man. So never think you a company man. Never think it can't happen. Just make sure you stay on point. Be safe out there, and know, everybody's expendable. Peace.